Hello and welcome to the new Wind Down series, the Wind Down ReWine, a bi-weekly series where Tammy and I recap the latest in entertainment and pop culture news. I'm so excited for this. Yay!
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. And speaking of which, this week we're going to get it started with a section I like to call Problematic Men.
Which I feel like is going to be a weekly thing because there's always men that just have so many issues going on in them with themselves.
I know, especially certain types of men, but we'll see if we can make the connection between these particular problematic men. And we'll start off with the most toxic and problematic of them all, the former person who lived in the White House, who doesn't want to admit that he's no longer the person who lived in the White House. So he makes everyone refer to him as 45 or the 45th president of the United States instead of the former president. But anyway, this person used to be a member of the SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, and he basically got fired or resigned before he got fired. Like, he was about to get kicked out of the Actors Union, long story short. And so he sent them a very Trumpian written resignation letter touting off his long history.
Did you see that list? He was in Home Alone 2 and he did Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I know. And I'm just so sure, like, all these shows, like, I'm sure Will Smith was like, why the fuck are you dropping my name in my show? Like,
and the next thing is he's probably telling the show, yo, you better take his scene out.
Thank you. And then, of course, he touted his the best and most popular TV show ever. The Apprentice. And so basically, but SAG's response was epic. They just sent back a two-word thank you. Like, you saved us the time.
We were talking about this earlier. Isn't that what I said they should do? Like, I was like, they should just send like a tweet out and say, okay.
Yeah, like, okay. And when I read that, I thought of you and I was like, yeah, they went, it was the perfect level of petty for him. Like, you saved us time during the middle of the pandemic when we're trying to keep our people working than really rather having to deal with this. And it leaves you more time to deal with your impeachment trial, which I don't know if he's found lawyers yet anyway.
No, but can I just say, do you know that he still makes $100,000 in pension from SAG?
Yeah, but he won't I don't think he'll get that anymore now.
No, now that he's fired, because no matter how he wants to say he resigned, he resigned before he got fired. But yeah, I was just like, and you were still making money off of them? Dang.
Well, he might have, I guess he had no choice because, his brand has been rated the most toxic. Like, they're facing problems in Scotland and everywhere. No one wants to stay at those trashy hotels and, But, and speaking of other problematic men who carried water for problematic man number one, try to keep up.
That's a great segue there.
Lou Dobbs was fired from Fox News or Fox Business Channel. I don't know which one, but Lou Dobbs had been at Fox like forever. And he was fired for touting conspiracy theories and lies about the election.
Now, he was really fired because it would cost less to fire him than that $2.7 billion that lawsuit that they're currently involved in.
Oh, yeah. He probably did not get on board with the, you're going to have to tone that shit down to after this lawsuit. Like, yeah. I think Tucker Carlson and the other fool. Who's the other fool?
Sean Hannity.
Yeah, I think they may have gotten on board for job security, like just toning it down a little bit. Mm-hmm. But Lou Dobbs was like, "Nah, I'm going all in on this. I'm going all in." So he got fired.
Bye.
I'm sure there's a place. Thank you. I'm sure Newsmax or OWN will pick him up,
of course,
not Oprah, not the Oprah Winfrey Network,
but that other one. Right?
OAN, yeah. I'm sure they'll pick him up. So but then that's not it. There's more problematic news. So Armie Hammer, I don't even know how to say this. Sex cannibalist scandal, like go to the website, popcornwindown.com, plug. We still need a sound effect for that. But I'm sending you to the website because the story is just so batshit crazy.
It's so much, like it's so many parts to this story that you have to read it for yourself.
Yeah, like consensual, non-consensual, cannibalistic sex. Are you just a cannibal? Like, it gives a whole new name to the eating out phrase, which, you know, is bad.
That was a good one.
But it's a lot. So, and I'm not making light of what the victims have gone through. It's just a lot.
No, you're making light of his bullshit. That's what this is about.
And it's just so much. And it's one of those things where you can either laugh or cry. In 2020 and 2021, it's peak 2020-21 shit. Like the 2020s have been fucked up.
2020 ain't never ended.
Like, yeah, this decade, I'm already ready. Can we just fast forward to the next 9 years?
Let's go to the 30s. Come on now.
So, his estranged wife is speaking out, like, and from most of her interviews, she's becoming more and more explicit about siding with the victims or the alleged victims.
She said she didn't know.
Yeah, and okay, I'm not going to get into that, but yeah, we're just going to say she said she didn't know that, you know.
Well, I do want to say that I agree on her kind of staying in the background. As it gets worse and worse, of course, she does have to come out and speak out, but she also stated like she just wants to focus on raising her children, raising her kids, and go for it. Like, raise your kids and stay out of the mess that he has created for himself, and now he has to figure out how are you going to get out of this shit. I don't see it, but he's very rich, so you know,
yeah,
the rich have they got different policies than the rest of us.
Yeah, because he's an heir to an oil fortune, so yeah. But he was dropped by his agency, WME. They just dropped him yesterday, and then also his publicist dropped him. And I don't know how he's going to get out of this either, because there really hasn't been like a lot of denial from him and his team. It's just been the basic, oh, they're lying and we're looking into filing the lawsuits, but it's never been, it's just like, oh, okay, if I stay silent, this will go away. But I'm like, dude, you're like 2 years too late for them covering up for.
So for the third time, I'm going to say this. Bye, Felicia.
Yeah. But Josh Duhamel replaced him in Shotgun Wedding with co-star Jennifer Lopez. He is. I remember him from All My Children days.
Ooh, yes. Oh yes, Leo. Yes.
And then Las Vegas.
Do you know? Sometimes I forget that he was Leo and Greenlee, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes. So, you know. But and then in further problematic news, it's not over yet. It's not over. I told you.
It keeps going.
Now this to me is the person who's probably done the most to ruin a career before it really even had the chance to take off.
It was literally just taking off, and now it's crashed and burned.
Yeah, Morgan Wallen, former country star. I don't know what we call him, but you may remember he had that kerfuffle, that dust up with Saturday Night Live and The Mask, and he was kicked off of I think he was supposed to come back to be the musical guest for the first show. And then they realized that
he was a ratings king, so they brought him back.
Yeah, he did his little apology tour, and you know he would wear the mask in public or whatever, and then they brought him back, like he said. Then he dropped a full-length double album, which was not great.
And he said that it was trash, y'all. I asked her, and she just basically told me it was trash, okay? So don't go try to listen to it just because you hear us talking about him now, all right? Stay away from the album.
I'm going to save you. He even has a duet with Chris Stapleton, and that doesn't save it. Like, I could not.
And that's sad when you don't even have the talent. Like, it's Chris Stapleton.
But dude, it's not that he can't sing. He's a good singer. I've heard some of his other stuff. Yeah, it was the music. I just did not feel this album. Yeah. But anyway, so he decides, he takes it upon himself in the middle of a raging pandemic, you know, to go partying in Nashville a week ago with his friends.
And what he said? What he said, Eddie? What he said?
He called. I guess they were being really loud because it was really late at night, and the people in Nashville in his neighborhood, they weren't having that. So I guess they said something. And of course, first thing he says is something he told one of his friends, "Go handle that pussy ass motherfucker." That's a direct quote. Ooh. Then he repeats it, except he changes motherfucker with the word nigga, like they're so interchangeable.
Ooh, let's say that one more time a little bit slower so people can hear exactly what word did he use.
He dropped the N-word. So instead of pussy ass motherfucker, the next time he said, "Go handle that pussy ass nigga." And TMZ had it on tape. So you know
when TMZ got it, it's over. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Yeah. So TMZ put him on blast. And dude, the surprising thing is it took less than 24 hours for country music to drop his ass like a bad habit.
It's not something that they do. They accept everybody and everything. Like, so this is surprising.
And the first people to do it were the Cumulus company. They owned like over 400 radio stations, and they told their radio stations take him out of rotation. Then CMT took all his videos down. They don't play him on their rotation.
I saw that.
Television. Apple, the streaming services, took him off of their main pages. And I read something where they said they took him off. They took his music off. I don't know if they did. I didn't, But then what else? Maren Morris and Tony and Mickey Guyton had come out and said they all know this is not the first time he's used that language. Like, this is not the first time he said that.
All, can we just acknowledge the fact that when you see a video of a white person using the N-word, it is definitely never their first time using the word. Ever.
Yeah. So, and I just looked it up on Spotify. He's still on Spotify. He's just not on the cover, like any of the covers, like for country music, you know how they cover their genres or whatever. Yeah. And the reason this is so big is because he's had the number one album on the Billboard 200, meaning the number one album, period.
For a couple weeks, right?
For 3 weeks in a row. And so it was like, dude, he was starting to get all of this other props and, all the other things that would come along, bringing deals from this. He was also dropped by his agency, WME. They're not playing around. Like, WME is like, we're getting rid of all you problematic.
Oh, goodness gracious. See, this is what happens when you can't handle your liquor.
Thank you. So, but I'm just in... Maren Morris and Luke Combs, they're also supposed to have a town hall or something talking about this too. So we'll see what happens.
I'm sorry, who?
They're country stars. Maren Morris, she's really progressive in country music. I love her.
Talking about what exactly? Like race in music or?
Yeah, about Nashville, because she was like, she explicitly came out and said, "Don't say this isn't who our town is or what it is, because it is." And so she's one of those. Be interesting. Yeah, she's one of those progressive stars, and she takes a lot of flack for being like crossover, for doing different types of music, for not being that pure old school country or whatever, But yeah, I love her, and so we'll see how that goes. But that. Oh, and we have one more problematic man. I was about to say that is the problematic man section, but this one's on an international level. So, it's not just problematic men here in the U.S. But this is the Tokyo Olympics chief. Not only is he refusing to deal with the possibility that, hey, the Olympics might have to be canceled because, we're still in the middle.
But completely canceled.
Because we're in the middle of a fucking raging pandemic.
And it ain't looking like it's going to be fixed anytime soon.
Exactly. So, but then he also has he made sexist comments about women in meetings and,
He said that women talk too much and that's the reason why meetings last so long. And I was like, oh, is it because we actually want the details? Goodness gracious, I can't.
And we have to correct the shit that y'all don't say and explain.
Thank you. I always tell people when they say that, my question is always, all wars that have happened in the world in history have been started by who?
Men. And all I'm gonna say is, if we elected a woman in 2016, we wouldn't be in this fucking situation. But that's neither here nor there.
I also agree. But let's move on.
let's move on. Let's not relitigate history.
Relitigate. There goes the SAT word, y'all.
So, we're going to keep this international, and we are going to talk about what I like to call the K-pops, although you told me don't call it the K-pops, but I just love, me and my names.
They are going global, so I feel that, they're definitely becoming more mainstream than they used to be, definitely different at the end of 2020 compared to the beginning of 2020, I'll say that much.
Yeah, and our favorite, the parent company of our boys, BTS, Big Hit has been making some big moves.
Huge moves.
They bought out VLive, which is the streaming service that they use. I don't know how to describe it, like their live video chatting service that they use, that a lot of K-pop stars use to connect with their friends.
I feel like it's kind of like their YouTube a little bit. It's a major fan. It's a major fan site that they use, so they can talk to their fans. They post videos. They do variety shows, which are on there and everything. Like it's amazing on what they go through in order to make sure they stay connected to their fans, right? Keep their name out there. So yeah.
So they bought that service, which is great. They also have a deal with YG, with one of their partnerships. It's not the main YG, so I don't know if it's how that's going to connect, if they're going to actually
it's a subsidiary of YG. So YG is like one of the biggest entertainment companies in South Korea, and Big Hit is now on the map as being one of the biggest entertainment companies. So they're just collaborating with YG Plus.
Yeah. So I don't know if that means you're going to see that long-awaited big BTS Blackpink collab that everyone wants to see. I don't know if I would feel that.
I feel like they would do more instead of BTS, probably TXT.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then SM Entertainment, who is the parent company for NCT Dream, the 50 million subunits of NCT.
50 million, because they're a whole country on their own.
Thank you. They have 5,000 members within themselves, but EXO, and I learned something that EXO is actually a buttload of members as well.
Yeah.
And
Shiny,
EXO,
don't forget Shiny. And Shiny, that's my group.
Making their comeback.
Yes, can't wait.
And my favorite, Bacon.
Oh my God, Bacon. Okay, so at some point we give these people like nicknames that are just ridiculous nicknames, but that is how we recognize who each other is talking about, because we can't say their actual name.
But his nickname actually turns out to be
Bacon. His nickname is really Bacon. Like, people really do call him Bacon, which it's just funny. But yes, like the CEO, the former CEO. Let me make correct. Tax evasion. So I know, like, it's not the same amount as it would be in US dollars, but he has to pay 20 billion won. So 20 billion won is like between 13 and 17 million. Is what SM has to pay, because they were being real shady with how they were continuing to pay their former CEO, who was the founder of the company. So they got caught, and now they got to pay millions of dollars for getting caught with tax evasion.
Well, I'd still take 13 billion won.
Please, give me a couple. Give me a couple. I'm good.
Give me a couple billion won. I'm good. So, and also, Spotify finally was able to launch in South Korea, which is a big deal. Because the major services that they had, I guess, for us, like if we were traveling, then you would have either had to have Apple Music or YouTube Music in order to listen to your music in South Korea.
Said that it only works on iPhones, right?
Yeah, right now it only works on iPhones, which would still be it seems like it would be limited, even though we know iPhone's the most popular phone, but Samsung is a Korean company, and
like everybody advertises, but secretly a lot of celebrities have iPhones because they actually like Apple phones better, but they're all advertising for Samsung. Like, because when like how I watch the shows, and they have actual advertisements within their shows. And it's always the newest Samsung phone, which always looks so cool. And I'm just like, oh, if I wasn't such a brand loyalist, I'd want to try it out.
Yeah, but I my friends who've had Droids and turned to Apple, they say once you go Apple, you don't go back.
Exactly.
Once
I go Mac, at Apple, and I don't want to go back.
Yeah, I've never had anything. Well, since the BlackBerry, like I had a BlackBerry.
Oh, that's old school right there.
I know, and I loved it.
I had the Razor.
Yeah, when smartphones were just coming out and Apple, I had the BlackBerry and I loved it, and it was and I didn't want to get rid of it. So when I finally realized that BlackBerry was dead, I stuck with the fruit and I went to Apple, and I've never looked back. So she
went from a BlackBerry to an Apple.
Yeah,
look at her staying healthy.
But so since it is going global, that's going to be big for Spotify, and hopefully it will help with their K-pop section and all of that. But as we talked about earlier, this new global reach of K-pop and Korean pop culture in general is now, they're starting to have the reckoning that everyone else is. They're now going to have to deal with those issues of homophobia, racism, sexism that kind of kept insulated because they were
within their country. So everybody, like, cause we've kind of brought it up multiple times as we talked about it. But I have noticed there are a lot more stories coming out because their international fans of these groups are calling them out every single time something happens. Because there's you now have to remember, it's not only Korean fans that you have or Asian fans, like you have international fans all over the world. So you have to be conscious of what you're doing and saying. Like, did you hear about G-Friend?
No, what happened?
So one of the members of G-Friend, she was in a museum and she took this picture and then posted it. She took a picture with a statue, it kind of looked like a wax statue of a Nazi soldier. And like she was all smiling up in the Nazi soldier's face, and took a picture and then posted it on Instagram and automatically got called out. They say, how do you not know who it was that you were taking a picture with? Did you not read the signs around so you knew who you were taking a picture with? Did not realize about it, and was not in the business of actually coming out and apologizing. They finally had to like force their hand on her company and her apologizing for taking that inappropriate photo with a Nazi. And I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna need y'all to really learn your world history so that this doesn't continue to happen.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, you know, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, this is what you wanted, you know. I know BTS opened the floodgates, and it may be happening a little bit faster than you want, but just with everybody, it's kind of like us with our love of BTS. It led us down to looking and researching and liking other groups. Yeah. So as a whole, it's not just BTS. It's Korean culture, especially Korean pop culture, entertainment industry is becoming more popular as a whole. So the shit that you got away with when it was just insulated in your country,
are not going to get away with
Asia, you're not going to get away with it now, especially with the world being where it is as far as social justice and all this reckoning that we're having to do with those issues, sexism, racism, homophobia. And
even the simple things of like their dating bans, right? So they're even saying that companies are now starting to lift their dating bans, and which I guess will turn into how kind of Hollywood does it, where you set people up if you want like publicity and everything like that. Like they set up certain couples where they're saying like they're going to start going down that path rather than just banning their idols from completely dating or banning their celebrities from dating, because they're going global, and that's just not something that international fans want, because they just think it's so weird that they do that, even though like they've been good with that in their Asian market, but now that they're international, they're like, wait, you don't allow them to date at all? Like, what the hell?
Like, these are grown ass people,
like,
and most
men.
of them do it. Most of them do it on the low, but
but not
it's
public.
Yeah, and I, like I said, me being the person I am, I don't have a problem with it really per se, because I am a private person, so that wouldn't bother me too much.
But that also says that's the reason why a lot of times it's a lot of sleeping around going on behind the scenes, because of the fact that they can't be public about, dating and getting to know people. Because if you have one conversation with someone of an opposite sex, you're automatically in a dating scandal.
Automatically dating. Yeah. So I think it would take, and who's to say you don't necessarily have to just go in IG famous with your girlfriend or whoever, but if you are dating someone who's not in the business and you do want to go out and walk with them, then it would be okay to say, hey, this is so-and-so with their girlfriend. So from that perspective, I understand it. It's not necessarily just being all in the tabloids or all putting your shit all out there on blast.
Just kind of being able to, like, a little bit more normal.
Being normal, like going on a date with the person that you're with, whether they're famous or not. So I would get that. I understand that completely. So kind of switching gears a little bit to one of our favorite networks. Yes, I love the CW. Most of the stuff I watch is on the CW.
I do too.
I admit that. The CW has already renewed 12 of their shows for next year, which is like their major slate, our favorites, All American. Walker is actually getting better. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit.
We talked about that. It said at least 3 episodes. I was going to give it at least 3 episodes before it gets better. I need a little bit more action in it. Rather than all those emotional scenes that they're always having, I'm going to need a little bit more action of him being a ranger. But I would agree with you that I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, I think when they actually get to the point of him rebuilding his family and starting to find out what really happened to his wife, I think that's where the action's going to come in. And plus, with it being the pandemic and their shooting, I think that might have been, because a lot of the shows that were normally action heavy aren't too action heavy right now. And I think that might be just in the times that they're filming in, maybe.
Yeah. So hopefully it does get a little bit more action-y.
Yeah. Because, if you've noticed, All American hasn't had a whole lot of football scenes either. Like, and normally
they didn't really show the game from last week's episode. They didn't show the full game. They just kind of showed the ending when they're back in the locker room. So you are right. Yeah. Like, they're trying to limit the amount of human contact during these times, which I definitely agree with, and I can definitely understand they're being responsible. But okay. So there are some shows that I'm really, really happy that they're renewed, even before they've come out with their next season, like Roswell, New Mexico. We love that show. It's been renewed.
Love it.
But then they renew stupid shows like Dynasty.
Why? I think Dynasty is I don't know. I want to say, because everyone has said it is like the worst show.
And it's not Gossip Girl. Like it's not even on Gossip Girl level. Like and by Gossip I mean like bad. The publicity and the fashion and everything. Like, it's not even Gossip Girl level.
It's bad because me. I usually give a show a chance. Like, you usually get a whole. I couldn't even make it 3 episodes into Dynasty before I gave up. I made it at least a season into Riverdale before I gave up.
But I can understand Riverdale's appeal, though.
I can understand, but Dynasty, because Riverdale's popular, but Dynasty is trash.
It's so trash.
No. Yeah. So Dynasty, Charmed got renewed. I like Charmed. I know you don't. Batwoman got renewed, which I'm glad.
I kind of figured, when they were saying 12 shows, I was just like, okay, like majority of their slate that's already out, that's already had seasons, like The Flash hasn't even premiered their new season. They already got renewed. So I can understand that. But there's just some shows that I feel, I'm like, why are you keeping them? Is it because it's cheaper to keep those shows than to develop new shows? Because you have some really bad shows that they're giving additional seasons to, and they're not even pulling in the numbers in viewership.
I think it has to do with the fact that this year the pilot season, just like last year, has pretty much been canceled or is very, very limited. So where they would usually be able to go shopping for new shows for pilots and stuff, they're still not able to do that. So I think it was just easier to renew a horrible show like Dynasty and make sure you have that on your slate and let them know that they have this year, and hopefully Praying. By 2022, shit will be back to normal,
or as
or
normal
the new normal.
Okay, so crazy thing is that, and I understand they're way better at us right now in the pandemic, but I think about like other countries, right, on how they're able to really film their shows better. And they have pilots coming out and shows coming out, like, you know, I know like in Korea, because y'all know I'm obsessed with Korean drama. They do their 16 episodes and they're continuously taping them. They've had full crowd scenes and everything like that. And they're able to do that, I guess, because they're handling the pandemic better than we were in the beginning. But yeah, I'm gonna need 2022 to come back normal.
Yeah, they don't have 50 million different strains like we do here. And Hyphen, speaking of crowds, and Hyphen filmed a fan meet. I want to know how they did that with the crowd, but you know, we'll see. So also speaking of other TV shows, two that I'm excited about are going into works. They're, you know, they're still talking about it, but they're bringing a Wakanda series to Disney TV Plus, created by Ryan Coogler, the director and one of the producers for and writer for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. So I'm as we get more details on that, what the series is going to be about. I'm sure it's going to just probably be about maybe the. I would love it if it's about the army. I can't think of their name right now. The badass female army.
Yes.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
So it would probably be about the secondary characters, but maybe, you know, with some tie-ins to the movie and the series and the Marvel universe as a whole. And then on the other side of that, this one I'm excited for, but still, you know, with everything that's going on with the creator, the Harry Potter series. They're developing a Harry Potter series for HBO Max. I know. I still love Harry Potter.
Love it.
I used to love J.K. Rowling. She's amazing, but her transphobia is just a lot. You know?
It is, but
so I try to separate.
Yes, I'm
really
just something like, she cannot kill the love that I have for the Harry Potter universe. Like, you cannot kill that love. You kill the love that I had for her and her talent. But so I don't care. But when it comes to Harry Potter, like nothing is killing that love.
Yeah, like I can't, you know, sometimes I'm not gonna lump her into cancel culture. I don't believe in just canceling everything and everyone. There are some people who've definitely gotten canceled and will not be uncanceled, but you know, I just separate the two.
Yeah.
And finally, it's award season. So the SAG and Golden Globe nominations were announced recently. And there were a lot of snubs. And a lot of good things. One of my disappointments was that Insecure and I May Destroy You were not recognized. Those were two of my favorite shows of last year. But as far as Golden Globes, were there any surprises for you?
Emily in Paris.
Yes!
Lily Collins,
yes,
as well as Emily in Paris, was nominated Best Comedy Series as well as Best Actress in a Comedy Series. That surprised me when I saw that list. I did not see that coming.
No.
That threw me a little bit. So I will say what I absolutely love, because we had this conversation before we got started with Popcorn Wind Down. On Normal People and Unorthodox. And I love the fact that Daisy Edgar Jones was nominated for Normal People, because she was completely robbed when it came to the Emmys on not being nominated for an Emmy. And Shara Haas? I think it's Shara Haas for Unorthodox. Two phenomenal shows. If you have not watched it, please go and watch those two shows. They were amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think they both made our top 10 for this TV show.
Yes, I definitely know I mentioned Normal People, and I think you mentioned Unorthodox, but I definitely mentioned Normal People.
Yeah, because I tried to go a little bit different than you did. I shared a lot of your shows, and so I'm like, well, she mentioned it, I'm gonna try to go with a different, you know. But Unorthodox really was phenomenal, and I would love if it's a show that I would really love to see a second season. Like, I want to see how her life is now, like, just how she continues to adjust. But that's a different conversation for a different day. Chadwick Boseman was nominated, which is not a surprise, but it would be interesting to see how he does. But also another one of my favorite actors, Riz Ahmed, was nominated for Sound of Metal, and Sound of Metal is one of those movies that is on my list to watch, because I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about Riz Ahmed and his performance in Sound of Metal. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know about the Golden Globes. It's still some of the movies and some of the it's not what I thought. Like, I thought, even though three female directors were nominated for Best Director, which is amazing. But I'm surprised One Night in Miami wasn't nominated, or that more of the cast from One Night of Miami wasn't nominated. Daniel Kaluuya was nominated for Judas and the Black Messiah. So,
which is coming out at the end of the month. Stay tuned. We're doing an episode on it.
And then the SAGs, they got some of the people that the Golden Globes left off, like The Five Bloods, which was a great movie. If you haven't seen it, it was really good. And I'd kind of been lukewarm on Spike Lee movies for a while.
That's why I haven't watched it.
And it's actually really good. And Minari, which was also a great movie starring Steve Yeun, is also on my list. It was a surprise snub for the Golden Globes, but it was also nominated for the SAG. So we will see. I
feel like the SAG usually gets it a little bit more right than the Golden Globes, right? Because it's I feel like it's more connected to your peers. Your peers actually feeling who is the best in the business. So I feel like it's even more of an honor to be nominated for, like, yes, granted, everybody wants a Golden Globe, you want an Emmy, you want an Oscar, but there's a different level of honor that you have when you are nominated for a SAG award, because those is from your peers.
Yeah, like I'd always say if you're going to be judged by a jury of your peers, that would probably be the best way. Is in a situation like that with the SAGs. And lately, the Golden Globes have been being called out more and more for being so political and all of that. So we'll see. And I guess the NAACP Awards also nominations were announced too. Are there any big surprises for you from there?
No, it's I'm just always iffy about the NAACP, because I feel like sometimes they just nominate people in order to fill up the award section rather than them actually deserving it. Like, oh, we need another black person in this section. Like, who we got? And they'd be like, yo, just put this person in. Like, he black. like I feel like sometimes that is the way they go, and other times I'm just like, okay, y'all got it right, but sometimes I just feel like they're just trying to fill up a category.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I know we're running short on time, so, but one of the ones that I like, and the Entertainer of the Year award, that's the one I'm singling out for this list. This is the list: D. Nice, Regina King, Viola Davis, Trevor Noah, and Tyler Perry. You know who is going to get my vote for this?
Wait, what was the award? What was that award?
The Entertainer of the Year for the NAACP.
I'm sorry, who they name again? My bad.
D. Nice, Regina King, Viola Davis. I'm about to tell you. And Trevor Noah. Okay, and Tyler Perry. So the person that gets my vote is the person that you asked about, D. Nice. And I don't remember if you remember one of the very first weekends of quarantine, I texted everybody I knew and I said, go on IG Live.
Oh, it was the show that he did, the DJ.
Club Quarantine.
Yes!
Every weekend since, he has done a Club Quarantine. Like, he will go live, he will do it late at night sometimes. He's done all these different sets. He did prom, like Club Quarantine just blew up. And he literally saved quarantine in the pandemic, and just music, and just And he used to be a rapper before he was part of Boogie Down Productions way back, like one of the first true, Scott LaRock, KRS-One, all that. So he was a part of Boogie Down Productions. And then he had a hit song, They Call Me D Nice. I'm taking, well, anyway, I can't rap for shit. But anyway, so that was pretty much, he would have been like a one-hit wonder with that song. And then I don't know then he became a DJ. And so he'd been DJing for the last few years. I don't know if he'd been producing either, but now it's just like, he deserves it. He deserves all the things that he's getting and all the recognition. So that is my vote for Entertainer of the Year, because I think he just did so much to help us all, to kind of connect us all. Because if you see the people who were like always talking in the chat, like everybody would tune in to Club Quarantine, and just so and music, how I feel about music. So he is my vote. Even with this standout stellar list of people, he gets my vote for Entertainer of the Year. So that wraps it up for our first episode of the Wind Down Rewind. I think we did pretty good, Tammy, if I do say so myself. And thank you for joining us on this episode of the first inaugural episode of Wind Down Rewind. And until next time, I'm Eddie.